the secretive nation of North Korea, where power and authority are often associated with male figures, a remarkable story unfolds. Step into a world where one woman defies expectations and wields significant influence behind closed doors. Prepare to meet Kim Yo Jong, the enigmatic sister of the supreme leader Kim Jong Un. While her brother may be the face of the regime, it is Kim Yo Jong who possesses the true strength within this dictatorship. But Kim Yo Jong is not the only influential woman in this captivating narrative. There is Ju A, Kim Jong Un's young daughter, who accompanies her father on important occasions. Despite her tender age, she already stands by his side during military parades and the launch of ballistic missiles, hinting at a future in the nation's political landscape. Among the women in Kim Jong Un's circle is Hyun Sung-wol, a figure shrouded in speculation. Once a celebrated pop star, rumors suggest a deeper connection between her and the supreme leader, adding an intriguing layer to the complex web of relationships within the regime. Yet, it is Kim Yo Jong who reigns supreme as the most significant woman in Kim Jong Un's life. Officially situated within the lower echelons of the political and military hierarchy, she navigates her way through a world dominated by seasoned men. But how is this possible in a country of patriarchal traditions, where women are expected to raise children, manage families, and leave the serious business of war and politics to men? It all began with a man named Kim Il-sung, perhaps the most important figure in North Korean history. He was an anti-Japanese guerrilla leader and a Soviet-backed revolutionary. According to the regime's mythology, he established his headquarters on the slopes of Mount Piktu, a sacred mountain in Korea. Quite the dramatic backdrop, don't you think? Despite living in the age of information, North Korea remains an incredibly repressive and impenetrable state. It's like a fortress, keeping its secrets locked away from prying eyes. Pinning down solid facts about its leaders is no easy feat. Let's set the stage further. After World War II, the Korean peninsula, previously under Japanese colonial rule, found itself divided between the Soviet-administered North and the American-run South. Initially, this division was meant to be temporary, a stopgap measure. Little did anyone know that it would solidify and persist. The Korean War, a brutal and destructive conflict, ended in a stalemate in 1953. And who emerged from this chaos, firmly entrenched in power? You guessed it, Kim Il-sung. For the next 4 decades, Kim Il-sung would dominate the North Korean landscape. His influence and grip on the nation were unshakable. But how did this extraordinary family dynasty come to be? What hidden stories and struggles lie buried in the annals of North Korea's past? After the passing of Kim Il-sung, his son, Kim Jong Il, took the reins of power in 1994. Now here's where it gets intriguing. Kim Jong Il had quite the complex love life, with multiple wives and concubines. But there was one woman who held a special place in his heart. Her name was Ko Young-hui, a talented dancer born in Japan, and she became the mother of 2 of his children, Jong Un and Yo Jong. The Kim children, along with their older brother Jong Chul, grew up in the secluded sanctuary of the leadership compound in Pyongyang.
Your father deprived you of life's simplest pleasures.
Picture a life of luxury, surrounded by servants and indulged with all the toys they could ever desire. It's fascinating to think that Yo Jong's own parents referred to her as their sweet princess. The three siblings were sent to school in Switzerland, but their true identities had to be kept secret. Yo Jong in particular attended the Liebfeld Steinholzley School in Bern under an assumed name, Pak Mi-hang, posing as the daughter of a North Korean diplomat. This clandestine nature of their lives added another layer of complexity to their experiences abroad. Tragically, when Yo Jong was around 17 years old, a devastating blow struck their family. Their beloved mother, Yong Hui, was diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. She shuttled between France for treatment and brief meetings with her children and sister before succumbing to the illness in 2004. This was a particularly painful experience for the Kim siblings. Watching their mothers battle with cancer without even having the liberty to use their real names. During those challenging times, the Kim children found solace in one another's company. Their father, Jong Il, lacked the emotional closeness and time to connect with his children. This led them to rely heavily on each other for support and forge a profound bond. As Yo Jong returned to Pyongyang after completing her studies and entered university, her life took on new dimensions. Some reports even speculate that she tied the knot with the son of a prominent general and politician. However, if such a marriage did take place, it remains shrouded in secrecy, with no public sightings or information about her husband. Yo Jong's mother, determined to secure her children's future, managed to outshine all the other wives and mistresses in the Kim dynasty. She positioned her kids as the successors to the Mount Dictator dynasty. Talk about a powerful mom, right? As her father's health declined after suffering a series of strokes in 2008, Yo Jong stepped up as a close aide. Turns out, Jong Il once called his sons idle blockheads and recognized his daughter as the one with brains.
He asked Kim Jong Il, who are your favorites as successor? And Kim Jong Il said, well, my sons are all idle blockheads. Okay? It's my daughters that have the heart and intellect and mindset to be in politics.
She learned the intricacies of North Korean politics, how to navigate the elites, and how her country interacts with neighboring China and South Korea. She truly imbibed political knowledge at the feet of the master. However, tragedy struck for the Kims when Jong Il suddenly passed away in December 2011. In the footage of his funeral, Yo Jong appeared visibly distraught. But here's the kicker. The state media didn't identify her. Many foreign observers, including myself, mistook her for Kim Jong Un's wife at the time. You see, North Koreans were accustomed to knowing nothing about their leaders' private lives, only catching glimpses of them during military visits or factory inaugurations. Now Jong Un, unlike his often somber-looking father, cultivated a more outgoing public image right from the start. Can you imagine him attending a concert where dancers dressed as Disney characters entertained him?
경미하는 김정은 동지 형식과 양상, 공목과 편곡, 음향 확성 등 지난 시기의 기성 틀에서 완전히 벗어난
Must have been quite a spectacle. And by his side was Ri Sol-ju, a young and attractive woman who quickly gained recognition as the respected First Lady. Quite a departure from the past, considering Jong Un's predecessors had multiple wives and mistresses, yet their existence was never acknowledged publicly. Yo Jong herself began to emerge in her mid-20s, making her presence felt in one of the North Korean government's most influential bureaus, the Propaganda and Agitation Department. This department was known for its controversial statements, especially during times of military tension and diplomatic strife. Around 2014, the rhetoric escalated to shocking levels, with crude and racist slurs targeting South Korea's President Park Geun-hye and even Barack Obama. Some experts believe that Yo Jong had a hand in these intense and extreme statements, surpassing even her brother's rhetoric. As tensions escalated in 2017 with Trump and Kim Jong Un exchanging heated words and threats, the world held its breath. Trump referred to Kim as Little Rocket Man.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself. We will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea.
While Kim denounced the then president as a mentally deranged US dotard.
Unique threat, and from Kim Jong Un, a first message in English, vowing to make President Trump, quote, pay dearly, calling him a mentally deranged dotard or senile old man, that word now trending online, for threatening to destroy North Korea in his UN speech Tuesday.
We had a little Tony versus Ezekiel situation on our hands.
What's your name? What?
The North Koreans conducted nuclear tests and showcased their intercontinental ballistic missiles, raising concerns of a potential strike on US soil. Trump responded with military posturing and strong rhetoric, but within months, the two leaders surprised everyone by shaking hands at a summit in Singapore. Kim's women played a pivotal role in this shift from crisis to diplomacy. They were right there, influencing the outcome of high-stakes negotiations. Can you believe it? So it's the Winter Olympics in February 2018, held in Pyeongchang, South Korea. As a symbol of reconciliation, the two Koreas decided to form a joint ice hockey team. Yo Jong made her appearance alongside a delegation of North Korean dignitaries. Sitting behind President Moon Jae in South Korea and Trump's deputy Mike Pence. Finally, the mysterious and intriguing Yo Jong stepped into the limelight, and South Korea's media couldn't get enough of analyzing her every move. The real power behind the scenes became evident, even though an amiable 90-year-old named Kim Yong-nam held the ceremonial position of North Korea's head of state. Yo Jong appeared with minimal makeup, wearing elegant but simple clothes, a fur-trimmed coat and a black handbag. Her only piece of jewelry was a badge displaying the faces of her grandfather and father, symbols of the Korean Workers' Party. You see, she used to be a dancer, and her poised demeanor, deliberate movements, and the way she looked down her nose at older and more senior South Koreans projected an air of calm, control, and a curious mix of courtesy and contempt. It was quite the sight. Now here's where the story takes an interesting turn. Yo Jong carried a letter from her brother inviting President Moon to meet him in person. This encounter led to a series of progressive summit meetings involving Kim, Trump, and Moon, all aimed at negotiating the denuclearization of North Korea in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. It seemed like a significant breakthrough, right? But hold on, my friends. Things took a nosedive. At their second summit in Vietnam in 2019, Trump demanded an all-or-nothing deal, insisting that Kim relinquish not only his nuclear weapons, but also his stockpiles of chemical and biological weapons. Kim, on the other hand, believed Trust needed to be built through smaller agreements before committing to such a massive deal. The gap between their positions proved insurmountable, and the Hanoi summit ended in failure. The Kims, including Yo Jong, retreated from public view for several weeks, leading to speculation about purges and dismissals within their ranks. But guess what? Yo Jong made a triumphant return, stronger and more aggressive than ever. In 2019, she was seen in striking photographs taken on Mount Pictou, riding alongside her brother on a white horse, and then tensions between North and South Korea escalated, with Yo Jong being the one to mark the end of the negotiations. She literally blew up the liaison office between the two governments, making it clear that she held considerable power. She even issued numerous statements, unleashing scathing denunciations of South Korean leadership, particularly ex-President Moon Jae-in, whom she now called impudent, a frightened dog, and an imbecile. She didn't hold back. Now it's a bit tricky to pin down exactly what Yo Jong does because of her physical closeness to her brother. Sometimes she appears more like a senior secretary or event organizer than a top-ranking politician. But don't let that fool you. Her proximity to Kim is a testament to the trust he places in her. There was even a photograph of her holding an ashtray for him while he smoked, which some interpreted as a sign of subservience. However, others understood that she was safeguarding the Kim family's DNA from prying foreign spies. Smart move, right? But here's the most intriguing part. What role will Yo Jong play in Kim Jong Un's succession plans? You see, although he's not old, Kim has some health concerns: smoking, heavy drinking, and being seriously overweight. Reports suggest he has gout, diabetes, and a family history of heart attacks. So if he were to keel over, who would take the reins? Definitely not his older brother Jong Chul, who's more interested in classic guitars than politics. Until last year, there was no stronger candidate than his sister Yo Jong. Then, last November, Ju A began to appear alongside her father at his public appearances. Described in the state media as the beloved and respected daughter, by contrast, Yo Jong has never been publicly identified as the leader's sister, although everyone who matters knows. Ju A's unexpected debut raises several questions. Why was she being presented in this way and not her slightly older brother, whose name is not known? She also has an unidentified younger sibling. And what is the point of parading her now? One theory is that Ju A's emergence may be symbolic, intended to establish the principle of continuing Kim rule in general. It may also be Kim's subtle warning to his sister, Yo Jong, not to take her power for granted, and an assurance to his wife that she is the matriarch of the Pictou line. Yo Jong is believed by South Korean intelligence to have had at least one child of her own, not long before the 2018 Olympics, giving her the potential to establish her own dynasty. But after a dozen appearances by Ju A in the space of a few months, there is a simpler possibility that although it may be decades before she is named as such, she is being groomed as North Korea's next leader. What does this mean for Yo Jong? North Korean politics is unforgiving, and those who were once close to ultimate power can suddenly find themselves its victims. In 2017, Kim's older half-brother, Jong Nam, who had lived abroad for years and who had been mildly critical of his brother, was killed with a nerve agent in Malaysia. There is little doubt it was an assassination authorized by the supreme leader himself. 4 years before that, Kim Jong Un ordered the execution of his uncle, Chang Sung-taek. Chang had been one of the closest advisors to young Kim and his late father. He was the regent in waiting if the old man died before the son was old enough to take over. In other words, he had the same role as Kim Yo Jong does now. In 2013, he was executed for, among other crimes, failing to applaud enthusiastically and publicly denounced despicable human scum, Chang, who was worse than a dog. It is difficult to believe that Yo Jong was not at least consulted about the killings of her uncle and brother. Better than anyone, she must understand how precarious is the position she now occupies. Unconstrained by democratic accountability, by the law, or by the scrutiny of the public, she is surging a wave of pure power, propelled by her own determination and ruthlessness, and by her parentage, the legitimacy imparted by the Mount Pektu bloodline. According to experts, Kim Jong Un wants a second in command, and her position is more prominent than anyone in recent history. But she's still definitely second. She has a vested interest in maintaining the status quo, any change of regime, and she is likely to become a scapegoat very soon. Emotionally, she is devoted to him, even if she wasn't. The collapse of the regime would mean the end of everything for her. But change, if it comes, could happen with lightning speed. And in the court of the Kims, there is a winner, but no runners-up. Succession in the Hermit Kingdom is like a real-world house of cards. Kim Jong Un orchestrates a political dance as intricate and manipulative as the Underwoods, with his sister playing the role of a devious Claire Underwood, and their loyal inner circle executing moves that would make Doug Stamper proud.